A lot of people know they're unhappy in their relationships. They feel it in their body, they feel it in their spirit, but they still stay. And it's easy to look at that from the outside and say, why don't you just leave? But what most people don't realize is that staying in unfulfilling relationships is rarely about not knowing better. It's about what feels familiar, what feels safer than being alone, and what feels emotionally manageable based on what you learned early in life. You see, for some people, staying is tied to fear: fear of starting over, fear of being alone, fear of not finding better, fear of confirming the belief that relationships don't last anyway. So they stay in something that's draining because at least it's known, at least it's predictable, at least they know how to survive it. For others, staying is tied to hope. Hope that if they love harder, explain better, or give more, the relationship will eventually become what they need it to be. They're not just attached to the person, they're attached to the version of the relationship they keep imagining. So they keep investing in potential instead of paying attention to what's actually happening. You see, some people stay because leaving will force them to face things they've been avoiding: loneliness, grief, disappointment, or even the realization that they've outgrown the relationship. So staying in can feel easier than facing the emotional work that comes with letting go. And then there are people who stay because their sense of worth is tied to being chosen. They learned early on in life that love had to be earned. So they tolerate relationships that don't meet their emotional needs because being in something feels better than feeling rejected or replaceable. So none of this makes you weak. It means your patterns make sense based on what you've learned. But patterns that made sense at one point can still limit you later. You see, unfulfilling relationships often don't end because people don't care. They linger because people are trying to meet old emotional needs in current relationships: needs for safety, needs for validation, needs for connection. But when those needs are consistently unmet, staying becomes a form of emotional self abandonment. So pay attention to what you're tolerating, pay attention to what you're explaining away. Pay attention to how often you're minimizing your own needs to keep the relationship going. Those are not small things. Those are signs that something in you is choosing familiarity over fulfillment. Healing doesn't always mean leaving immediately. Sometimes healing starts with honesty: honesty about what you're getting, honesty about what you're not getting, and honesty about what you keep hoping will change without any real evidence that it will. I'm Lamora D. Pace. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and relationship expert. This channel is a space for real conversations about relationships, healing, and the patterns that shape how we connect. So, if this series spoke to you, I want to invite you to like these videos, subscribe to the channel, and stay connected. There's more here for the version of you that's ready to grow, heal, and choose differently.